Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with 10 essential vocal ballets for beginners. What is a vocal ballet? Well, a vocal ballet is obviously a ballet with singing in it. Originally, most ballets had singing in them. They only became pure dancing much, much later, actually. And the stories were often interspersed with vocal music. I mean, ballets were second numbers or filler pieces between the acts of big operas, and integrated into some kind of larger theatrical event. But the tradition persists, and there are some absolutely marvelous works that are actual ballets and also vocal works. And these are the 10 essential vocal ballets for beginners. And always with these beginners lists, no additions or deletions are permitted, because 10 of anything is a job to get through and to listen through, and nobody needs more suggestions about them. If you have ideas about vocal ballets, well, maybe we can talk about them in the future, but not on this list. So here we go. Are you ready, folks? Yes, first, Rameau's Pygmalion. This is a one-act, well, they called it an act de ballet back in those days, a one-act ballet with a plot. We know what the plot of Pygmalion is. It's My Fair Lady. Well, sort of. Not the original Greek thing is a little bit different. Rameau's version is probably a little bit different from that. But it's still about a guy who does a statue that he falls in love with, and it comes to life, and all that stuff happens. So you get the idea. It's about some inanimate object that becomes a real woman. Anyway, it's the perfect way actually to get involved with Rameau's music, because just about everything he wrote was a ballet with songs or an opera with dances. I mean, the French medium was a mixed medium to start with. And so, the characters talk about something, and then they dance about it, and they talk about something else, and they dance about that. I mean, that's how those things work. And so if you want to get to know what Rameau was about, and you should, because he was a fantastic composer with an exceptional gift for orchestration and one of the great theorists of the 18th century, you'll want to hear something, and 40 minutes is all it takes, and you've got the style down pat. It's very, very, very easy and delightful to do it. So that's how we start with Pygmalion. Next, Manuel de Falla, El Amor, Brujo, Love the Magician. It's about a woman who's haunted by the ghost of her dead lover until the dawn breaks and the spirits disperse and she can hang out with her new boyfriend. That's the story. It's all over in about 25 minutes. It contains the ritual fire dance, with which they try to exorcise the demonic spirit of her dead lover. It is so beautiful. Oh my God, it's beautiful. The songs are fun, folk-like things. And, there is singing in Falla's other ballet, The Three-Cornered Hat, but very little, just a teeny tiny little bit. This is songs mixed with dances throughout, and it's one of the classics, one of the iconic ballets with songs. I've never seen it danced. I assume it gets danced someplace outside of Spain, but I haven't seen it, and I would love to. I mean, I think it would be beautiful, but it really survives as a concert work, and a wonderful concert work it is. Pulank Leish. Well, this is sort of modeled on Amor, Brujo. I mean, the story isn't, absolutely not. The story, it doesn't really have a story. It's young girls on the verge of womanhood doing verge of womanhoodly things or something like that. But it's got wonderful songs mixed in with absolutely fabulous dances. There's a rag mazurka and all these other little goodies happening on. There's popular street music, Parisian urban music mixed in. It's really, really terrific. And I think you'll enjoy it. Most people don't know the ballet with songs. Most people only know the suite. There's a lovely suite that's quite brief, but the whole ballet is just marvelous and definitely worth listening to. So you want to get the complete ballet in this case, and I think you'll be in for something very, very special and extraordinarily enjoyable, light and frothy and fun. On the more serious side, there's Albert Roussel, Aeneas. This is his last ballet. He wrote 3 really famous ballets. The first was The Spider's Feast, which is really cool. All the characters are insects, and the spider is luring them into its web so that he can, or she, actually, the spider's a woman, I think, is that she can munch on them. And then there's Bacchus and Ariadne, which is his most famous, particularly from the second suite, which is the whole second half of the ballet. And then, at last, his least well-known is Aeneas, which is a very austere piece. It's like all of late Roussel. It's extremely rhythmic and exciting. It's sort of neoclassical, but with modernist harmony. And that's probably why it's not that well known or not as popular, because it's melodic. I mean, it's a ballet, and it's got, normal dancey things happening in it, but it's also somewhat dissonant and sober. I mean, it's a very, very serious story, and it's wonderfully done. I mean, Roussel knew how to do rhythm. I mean, he was a really rhythmically exciting composer. And so if you like his earlier ballets, you should hear Aeneas. And the story, right? Dido and Aeneas. I mean, he's that Aeneas. And it's really quite lovely. Szymanowski, the great Polish composer, Szymanowski. Well, he wrote a fabulous choral ballet. It's a late work called Harnasie, based on Polish folk music. It's very interesting. Szymanowski's early style was sort of Scriabin-esque. If you know Scriabin, it's very highly perfumed and chromatic and dense harmonically, and difficult harmonically, complex harmonically. But later in his career, he became infatuated with Polish folk music, and he simplified his style, and it started to become more like Roussel's. That is very rhythmic and exciting. His fourth symphony, which is also called Symphonia Concertante, it's almost a piano concerto for piano and orchestra, is like that. It has that. His second violin concerto is like that. This is a side to his style that's not very well known, but it deserves to be, because it's wonderfully approachable. And Harnasie, I mean, it should be as popular as any sort of choral dance thing. I mean, it's really, really full of good tunes, captivatingly orchestrated. Then there's Holst. Holst wrote a bunch of choral ballets, believe it or not. Holst of the Planets fame. I think probably the best of them, or the most easy to take in regular doses, is The Morning of the Year. It's one of those, English folk countryside sort of things, if I'm not mistaken. I really pay very little attention to the plots. I like the singing. I enjoy listening to them. But if you think I'm following the words of all these things with the stories, it's a ballet. They dance. That's all I need to know. It's really a fun piece, and it's been recorded several times in recent years, and it's hardly known at all, and really ought to be given quite a bit more attention than it usually gets. And after Holst, there's the fabulous, fabulous Czech composer Martinu, Špalíček. Now, there's all kinds of Špalíčeks in Martinu. There's a suite, there's other stuff, but you get the complete Huji. It's a series of folk stories which are enacted in dance with songs interspersed. It's very typical Martinu from his Paris period. That is rhythmically urgent and exciting and neoclassically bracing. It's full of, it's like this. It's like slapping on some aftershave. It's astringent, but really enjoyable and full of absolutely wonderful music with lots of perky Czech woodwind writing. It's fun. It's just fun music. And I think that, like so much of Martinu, who wrote a whole passel of ballets, just like he wrote a whole passel of operas that nobody knows about, it's really, really a find. You listen to Martinu's music and you say to yourself, oh my gosh, where's this guy been all my life? It's all just so enjoyable, and it's 20th century. Great stuff. Then, oh yes, Leifs Baldr. Well, Baldr it's Icelandic. Baldr is one of those mythological heroes who gets killed and then the universe collapses. It's that sort of a story. And it actually begins with the dance of the subhumans, which I think is just a marvelous concept, don't you? Really? Leifs music is based on Leifs, Icelandic folk music, which is all in parallel fourths and fifths, like medieval organum. And he orchestrates with, very heavy instruments like sledgehammers and boulders and things like that. It's really primal, cool stuff. This is his biggest work. And it has, many choral interludes sung in Icelandic, of course, in Icelandic folk style. And it's like no one else's music at all in the universe. There are 2 recordings, actually, but the one you'll find probably is on Biches, and it's fabulous. It's a first-class performance. The volcanic eruption at the end is amazing. Not quite as amazing as the tone poem Hekla, which is nothing but a volcanic eruption, but it gets the job done really seriously. It's fantastic. And the whole piece has a world and atmosphere that's just like nothing else anybody was writing. And Leifs is quite the guy. He really is. Fascinating composer. Then, of course, there's Orff, Carmina Barana. Oh, yes. Believe it or not, Carmina Barana is a ballet. I saw it danced. The New York City Opera did a production of it, actually, in ballet form, mixed with Kurt Weill's The Seven Deadly Sins, which really ought to be on this list, but for some reason is not, because I limited it to 10. I should have done more. I could have done, 12 or 16, but, consider Orff's Carmina Barana to make a wonderful coupling with Kurt Weill's The Seven Deadly Sins, which is fabulous choral ballet. But Carmina Barana is, everybody knows it. It's incredibly famous. It's medieval poetry about life and sex and fate and stuff like that, set to driving rhythms and colorful percussive orchestration with every number. Well, all the numbers are vocal except for 2. There are 2 little dances that are not sung, but everything else is sung, and it's a classic. It has to be in any short list of vocal ballets, even if you didn't know it was a ballet. It worked really well, by the way, when it was danced. It's terrific. It works extremely well as Orff originally intended, and it's part of a trilogy. The Catulle Carmina and The Triumph of Aphrodite are the other 2 numbers, neither of which are as appealing as Carmina Barana. That was really a one-shot deal for Orff, and it's just fantastic. And Orff's entire career of late music, the stuff that we care about, was based on Stravinsky, Les Noces, The Wedding, which went through many, many, many versions and incarnations before Stravinsky finally settled down and wrote it for 4 pianos and a pile of percussion, which Orff co-opted. And the second in his trilogy, Catulle Carmina, was also 4 pianos and percussion. It's a brilliant evocation of a Russian wedding using authentic Russian folk sources. And, you've got scenes in the bride's, preparation chamber with her girlfriends, and then the guys and the people, and then there's a wedding feast and the drunken relatives and crazy uncles and making toasts, and it's all over in like 20 minutes, which is really incredible. It's perhaps Stravinsky's most potent distillation of Russian folk music. Like all Stravinsky, it's incredibly rhythmic. It's hard hitting. It's really fantastic. An amazing piece of music, and maybe the iconic 20th century choral ballet. Really just fantastic. And so there you have it. 10 essential vocal ballets for beginners, plus Kurt Weill's The Seven Deadly Sins, which should be on the list but isn't, so maybe it's 11. But it's 10. It's 10, I tell you. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me, and enjoy these wonderful, wonderful dance pieces. Take care.